All right. Thanks once again, everyone, for joining another exciting edition of the Werewolf Technical Steering Committee meeting for the 20th of August this year, 2025. Um, I just have like discussion agenda right now. But is there anything not on this agenda that should be added to it before we get started?
Maybe just a wug reminder.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that's kind of fun.
new
Um,
past tense of wag.
the we be wugging.
Rose, tell us about the WUG.
Yes, I'm just looking right now. I can see 27 people have requested me to add them. So that is awesome and exciting. It's coming up here, September 10th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I have been reaching out to a variety of people to see if they'd be willing to come and be like, the first presenters to talk about different things. There's some people that are doing, Kubernetes on Werewolf, and I have asked them, a couple of people doing large deployments, and I have asked them, haven't gotten any bites yet. So if you guys, one of you want to do the first little presentation, that would be fun. Let me know the topic. Or if you have somebody that you think might be willing to come in and talk about something they're doing with Warewulf, I think that'd be great.
If you don't get an actual like user community person, I can fall back to like I guess I need to check my schedule and make sure I actually have because I don't think I have it on my calendar. But as long as schedule permits, I could always show off like the disk provisioning stuff. But
What are you saying? You saying I haven't invited Jonathan Anderson?
I don't think so. What day is it?
Yeah,
September
I'm
1st?
also not invited,
September 10th. Oh, you're in there. You're in
Oh,
there.
but I'm
September
not in
what?
there.
No, Christian, I did not invite you yet.
Yeah.
I was waiting for a hey me.
Yeah, I also want to be
You're right.
invited.
I should add all of you just regardless.
Yeah, the thing is, if you invite me, I see immediately what time that is because 10 whatever time you said.
Yeah.
Agreed. Will you just pop in well, I don't know if you want your email address in the chat, but I'll find your email somewhere.
Yeah, we can get it to him. Rose, I mean it's on the calendar invite for this. What day is it?
Wednesday, September 10th.
September 10th. Okay.
Yes.
And you said there's like 17 people on it? Or sorry, 27?
27.
27. No, yeah.
27. Yes.
I'm tired today, everyone.
You're allowed to do that.
All right. And I'm just checking that I see it here. Yes, okay. I do see it. Okay, great. So yeah, I hope that you can find someone more on the user side so it's sets a precedent for that, but if it comes down to it.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Next thing is a conversation prompted by an interaction that Christian and I had in some pull requests. So the context for this is that we CIQ have a customer that has complained about a race condition that we have previously observed in Werewolf Client. That when Werewolf Client applies the runtime overlay, there is a moment in time where the content of the file is inconsistent
Right.
because it is writing it directly into the target file. And so if a Slurm job in their environment is starting at the precise moment that it is writing slurm.conf, it blows up. And they raised this as an urgent issue that they wanted fixed as soon as possible. So we did some rework in Werewolf Client, and I put in a pull request and asked someone on the CIQ side to review it while I slept. And when I woke, it had been merged. And Christian, I think rightfully so, raised this as a concern that it's in general, I think we probably just shouldn't be doing that.
No, that
But
was just Yeah,
But
not
it's also
then you should have mentioned that in this backfire that this is really urgent. I don't have problems
yeah.
with urgent things, but this was kind of
Well,
it's a bit
regardless, so even regardless, this was a change in Werewolf client which is not well tested because it is difficult to test. So
right.
it merits additional scrutiny regardless. It also had bugs in it because it's not well tested. That I think Christian pointed out that we weren't accounting for SE Linux or something. You pointed out, and then we discovered SE Linux stuff. So
Yeah,
um,
that's the thing. There's no SE Linux at all because it's a CPL archive.
right, but we weren't doing any kind of restore
Yeah,
con, and because we weren't writing into the target file, we were losing file contexts. So um, there is an updated PR that is down here, and we can talk about that later.
yeah.
But uh, man, but at this point, the this discussion point is what should our policies be in terms of uh like I kind of agree that it doesn't feel good for one CIQer to put in a PR and then another CIQer approve it when it might have controversy. So how do we make that distinction? How do we know when that is?
That the thing is, you can make that. You can make that distinction, but even that wasn't made. If the PR would have been something, yeah, this is an urgent thing, it was kind of completely something like, yeah, we want to do now an atomic riot. That sounds a bit like, if you just look at the PR, there was kind of no need why there was such urgency
Yep.
behind. If you want that, even if there would have been something like describing here, this is really important because we have a customer and he has problems with them, as you now explained it. Then it would have been then I would have seen that. And for me, it looked like something like, oh yeah, Jonathan was kind of thinking this would be nicer because I read in some blog we need atomic operations. Uh,
That
But
doesn't
that
sound
there
like me
was
at
a
all.
real use case behind that.
Yeah. Um,
And
yeah, so
the
I
other
think
thing
that's
is, it's
completely
really not
fair.
well tested. At the point, but that's the reason why you have the problem because it's not well tested.
Yeah. So I've at least taken the note that if we're doing something with urgency or with like a customer ask or some reason why, it should be noted and
Yeah,
justified.
and ping that in the TSC.
That's a good point too.
Yeah, that if you put something in like that, then say it in the TSC and explain it there. It's not a problem. It was kind of out of the thin air.
Yeah, part of the context there also is that it was all happening while I was on travel, and I'm in meetings all day and then doing the development in the hotel at night and going to bed at midnight and being like, Jason, could you please look at this? But yeah, we didn't handle it well. And I mostly just want to maybe not mostly, but if nothing else, I just want to acknowledge like that is not the sensation that anyone should have. We don't want like privileged access to Werewolf and Werewolf contributions over certainly other TSC membership. So anything that leads to that perception, I want to nip in the bud because as far as I'm concerned, the best thing about Werewolf is this right here. It's the community of people that are working on it. So I don't want to jeopardize that. And anything, if there is ever a concern, what Christian did is exactly the right thing. Raise a concern, we reverted it as soon as we could, and then we had a conversation. And uh, that's one of the benefits of the revision control is if we do have a misstep, we can take a step back. But um, yeah, we'll try and do better on this in the future. Alex, welcome. We're just having heavy conversation.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I hear that's why I'm just sitting here listening.
Genuinely though, anyone else in the room, any other comments or thoughts on how to better manage this kind of situation in the future, or is this of we just needed to communicate better and maybe put it in the TSC channel? That would have been fine. Um, anything else that we should be keeping in mind? I'm looking at you, Chris. So you
I
come off
know.
mute. There's
I
no
know.
escape.
I am trying to find the words. So I would like to look at it a little closer. If you could send me the link to the PR, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, the one that got reverted.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I'm doing this in another tab here. So it was
Well, yeah, just send me the number.
closed, and then this one is the one that got reverted, and then it was for this was the actual issue that was submitted on behalf of the user or the customer, and then this is the prior art that kind of let us justify the quickness to us because we were like, oh, this isn't a new thing. This is a thing people have complained about in the past. So I'm gonna put references.
Thank you. Let me look.
Customer issue here. And then prior here. So for anyone who is not aware of this context, Chris, well, I guess you have OSPO in your title here, but yeah,
Right.
Chris
Yeah.
also tries to keep us honest in CIQ and making sure we are being good citizens of the open source communities in which we participate. So I appreciate his oversight here. I expect you don't intend for us to like sit and wait while you review, but
No. Please don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of want to make sure I understand the problem first.
Yep. Okay. I
Cool.
will look forward to your feedback at some point. So the
Thank
next
you.
thing is what I have listed here as the ISC DHCP deprecation and support for Rocky Linux 10. My priority for this is that we need Enterprise Linux 10 support for the next version of OpenHPC. Oh, it's even trying to recommend it to me. So Tim, I know that you've got a pull request for this out there. And I believe last I saw, though I think you just pushed more into it, that it was not passing tests, but it looks like it is now. That's recent?
Yeah,
Um,
now it does the build tests.
Cool. So do you consider this ready to go? And I think I asked this last time and the answer was no, but are there other things that we should be considering of equal priority for getting prepared for the next version of OpenHPC?
I think it's ready to go. It's done light testing, so it'll have to, get tested a little bit thoroughly. I did not test the release mechanism because I don't like GitHub Actions. So that the actual release, it builds and fine, the release should work. It's preliminary in the sense that it just builds the artifacts for Rocky Linux 10 and makes sure that it does not depend on DHCP server and instead depends on DNS mask. And there was some updates. It now builds, all the targets build on Rocky Linux 10. And so there was some minor updates that needed to happen with I forget the tool right now, but the build process, mock, yeah, something related to mock had to be done. And I added a couple other convenience things. I did squish them into one commit, but they seem to be pretty much related.
Yeah. Yeah, my question about the make RPM or whatever it is now was I thought that you had moved the actual automated build process onto something like that,
No.
and I was concerned. But yeah, just as a convenience, that sounds great.
Yeah, and it probably should be tested a little bit further, but folks on site may want to do a make RPM and then RPM install the local RPM. So that can be a handy feature. That's what I think happens in Slurm.
Yeah. What I have done in the past to test this automation is pull it into my clone, like my personal clone on GitHub, and then I can do a release over there and see if it works. So I will try to make time to do that. But if anyone else wants to go down that terrible path and beat me to it, by all means.
I'm trying to remember how to do it, and I might beat you to it. So,
but anything else for OpenHPC next release stuff that we should consider high priority at this point?
The other one would be the images, and I noted later
Right. Okay.
the Warewulf images for
Enterprise Linux 10.
Alma Linux and Rocky Linux for EL images.
Cool.
And I did
Enough
close
with
PR 1766. That was the overlay edit. We're not going to use that methodology. We've got around it in a couple things, one of which is continuing to try to get YQ into Apple. And if not, build it for OpenHPC. So we'll be using that, and that'll cut out a lot of ugly magic that we need to do. And if we
Has there
do
been...
need to, sorry, go ahead.
No, you please continue.
If we do need something similar, I have a different approach now that I've spent more time in the code base that I would use instead of overlay edit. Basically extract the paths directly so you can just set or awk the full path as opposed to going through that process.
Is there has there been pushback to YQ in Apple, or is it just normal like Apple bureaucracy stuff that it's always hard to get a package in?
As with most Go packages, it's built up of a billion other Go libraries, all of which should be in Apple in order to build. But recent progress on that is just build it, pull in all the dependencies, package them all up, and send it out. And since there is already a PR for that in Apple, I can take that and use it in OpenHPC if Apple does not go down that route. But I think it's looking promising to get it in there. So
cool. Okay. Thank you for both prioritizing OpenHPC compatibility work and the continued work you're doing up there. Any further questions on this point from the group? All right. Next item is pending PRs from Christian here and here. And I thought I had my PR in here, but I'll add that on at the end.
You should also add your PR.
Yeah, I thought I did at one point, but we'll get it. So I think when last we spoke, I am strongly of the opinion that this one is good. There's lots of commits in here. I just haven't had a chance to look at it.
It's a lot of changes because the refactoring touches a lot of classes.
Yeah, that makes sense. But this is just fixing, frankly, a mistake that either I made or I inherited from.
No, it was just the when code kind of grows over the years, things like this get in.
Yeah,
but we didn't have that. There are many things where we don't have a clear design decision yet, and adding them up, that's just cleaning up.
Yeah,
stuff.
So I at least don't have any concerns with this right now. I just haven't had a chance to test it and review it. But from what Christian, I think, and I had a huddle or something right when it was going in, and it looked good to me.
And then the other one is just that we use the right boots that we can then. So the workaround for this, you can set disk wipe if it's set to true. You cannot set it with the command line to fails.
Yes. And this implementation uses a Warewulf bool, which is something that is already in the code base, which uses a string to store a Boolean value so that you can have an explicit false. This is a little bit of a difference of preference between Christian and myself. I would rather do this with a Boolean pointer, but then
do it with a pointer. I'm happy to review it, and if the tests don't fail, I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah, so I have like a halfway done implementation, or not like a re-implementation, starting from this PR, like a halfway done refactor towards that, but just got pulled into other things. So that's what I would like to see for this, but that's why it's not done yet. Tim, the next one then is this PR for Rocky Linux 10 and Alma Linux 10 node images. Is there anything particularly notable for this, or anything that you think a reviewer should keep an eye out for, or do you expect this is just kind of reasonably normal and easy enough to do?
It's been a while, but it's mostly copy and paste and pull things over. There was very few changes. There are one or two bugs I may have pulled in, not bugs, but bug fixes I pulled in from previous versions and just left them in there. I don't remember. We do a couple fix-ups. I don't remember what they
Right.
are.
Things that probably don't cause a problem, but might be unnecessary in a new one. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah. I did reasonable amounting testing on Arch and ARM64 and x86
Nice.
and with Arch and Rocky. So I believe I did manually tested the full thing.
We are not currently publishing ARM versions of these through GHCR. I don't know if we have a way to do a combined image. But
we are producing our.
Oh, are we?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Um,
I wrote that. I believe I wrote that code and I got it.
oh,
accepted.
did you fix this and I didn't notice?
Or I redid it.
We're building ARM packages for Warewulf. I don't think we're building ARM container images.
Containers, yeah.
I will go check.
Oh,
Well, wait, where's the
ARM
matrix? There it is.
64. Oh man.
Yeah, no, it's in there. Yeah.
So
Take a look. I'll take a look at the artifacts on my repo.
no, yeah. Okay, so there's that, and then oh, cool.
One thing I did do, I think I cut back the number of pre-releases. I don't know if you did that or I did it, but I did.
You put it in
trimming.
and I approved it. That's a thing that went in a little while ago. I remember that. Let's go here and then look at. I want to find a better way for these to be denoted. I just want 9. Here we go. Oh man, that's great. I had no idea. Man.
Yeah, I've shifted to using QEMU on my Mac for testing. So I set up a virtual cluster, just uses raw QEMU. I can boot off of UEFI. And
well, okay. So we have them, but they're not are they a single image where if you just pull from this tag, I guess it knows that they are all associated with this tag. So if you pull this tag, does it get the right one for your local arch?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool.
If you want to test it, you just pull up on a Docker on your ARM box and do a git pull.
Yeah. I'm
going
to do that after this. Very cool. So yes, that image looks good to me. In fact, I might make Christian really happy and advocate for merging it right here on the call. And any objection to this?
Match.
All right.
One thing that gives me hesitation is that we have no versioning in terms of how things work, right? So folks can go to previous versions of Warewulf. When we publish the images, it really just updates the entire world. And so if we break something, we could potentially break a lot of folks. However, it's only breaking in their build process, not the actual deployment process. So
it is true. It also doesn't break. It doesn't break their like anything they've currently pulled, right? What they have as a copy. And in this specific case, this is new images, so it's not something that someone will have previous experience with. So if you've tested this and you think they're good, these are from my perspective right now, given that we don't have full integration testing, these are kind of a best effort thing anyway. But I don't know. Maybe you don't want to hear that from the OpenHPC side.
No, it's fine. They can build it on their side too, right? There's nothing stopping them from doing that. It is slightly different because the images are now being built as EL10 as a host.
Oh, good call.
On top of, right? So theoretically, mock should be okay, but that's what just gave me pause in terms of, this
I wasn't thinking about
should theoretically be okay, and sometimes folks make mistakes, but
yeah. So for just in case that wasn't clear to anyone, or maybe for the recording, there's an unstated part of this change. So in order to be able to build Rocky Linux and Alma Linux 10 images, we need to be building with a version of mock that knows about those, and I presume that then the easiest way to do that was just to use Rocky Linux 10 in container publish here.
Yep.
Right.
And that's what caused some of the issues in terms of the upgrades. There was some bugs I had to fix in terms of passing tag information around, because the new version of mock now creates 2 folders, which when you glob expand them has two arguments to the command as opposed to 1. And that's why there might be issues with the release, but that's
well, I'll tell you what, with that amount of concern, I will say I won't merge it right here on the call, but I'll check it out and we'll see how we feel about it.
but it's been well tested.
Okay.
I don't believe I tested 8.
Okay. So you mentioned that you closed this PR. I don't think we need to discuss that anymore. I will pull up the PR that oh, this is the wrong repository.
Just before we leave that one,
Yeah.
when we do update the node images, I think it would be good to announce that on the Slack, just so folks have a correlation point if something does go sideways in their build process.
In general, just whenever we
Yes.
make changes to it. I would
Yeah.
like to see automation for this. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do it until then, but I have tried at various points to set up alerts into Slack when there are things that happen in GitHub, but it looked to me like it wanted to do it through a specific person's account, which seemed like the wrong thing to me. So uh, I don't know if anyone else has experience setting up GitHub integrations with Slack and knows how I'm doing it wrong or looking at it wrong. That might be cool. But until then, I agree. I think that's a good idea. In fact, I will note it here. There's some kind of weird noise coming from downstairs. All right. Back here. So this is the pull request that we currently have in flight that replaces the one that was reverted. It makes changes to Warewulf client, and the goal is, or the main thing is that it unpacks the CPIO in temp, and then copies the files over one at a time, and it copies them to a temporary file and then renames it to the target file name. So the reason for this is if if temp is not the same file system as the destination, then anything like a move is also not going to be atomic. So we write it into a temporary file in the same directory as the target destination, and then rename it over after setting the correct mode and mtime and owner and password and
But you check if the file is different, or?
we do not currently check if the file is different.
Yeah, but
It
why not?
overwrites every time. I agree that we should do that, but it is at least not new behavior that we are not doing that. In the past, we have
Yeah, but
always just done.
that would be much better to check it first before writing.
Would you do that for
That
each
could
file?
still you could still have the thing, even if you rename the file or move the file, the file handles would be still, if there's a problem with file handles, they don't go away.
Yeah, that's
And
not a bad
if
point.
you would check it, you would at least you could then spell out a log message and saying, yeah, now I'm updating it. And then you know, okay, it would be, if there is some weird problem, and that's a thing you already hit, then it's easier to get it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Because then for example, if you see, okay, your Slurm job breaks and at the same time does a log message, oh, www client has updated the log file, then you could immediately pinpoint it. Oh,
well, and it's going to
what?
update way less often than when it's just when it's applying the
Yeah, but
override
then
fee.
you would nearly never have update.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that it's better in all cases. So
In all cases, and then in combination to this, what you didn't like, this non-atomic thingy I had. But I didn't know that. I must be honest, I'm not a kind of web programmer guy, so I don't know. So I didn't know that HTTP has this, that in the HTTP protocol, or it's in the protocol.
It's not technically in the protocol, but it's like normal, like standard headers and things. And I only know it because I was looking it up to do this in the REST API. So the REST API has some stuff like that in it. So Christian is referring to this pull request, which includes support for not fetching the runtime overlay or not reapplying it if it hasn't changed. And I have provided some feedback on like standard HTTP methods to do that.
It's twofold. You have to, on the one hand, don't download it if it hasn't changed, and even if you have downloaded it, only apply a change if there's a difference.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think you would recommend then that we do it per file, that when we're moving the file in, see if the target has changed. Yeah, okay. That should be reasonably easy to add. Another thing that has changed as part of this pull request is we added a once option, which is something people have been asking for a long time. So if you run Warewulf client with -- once now, it just runs once and exits. So if you wanted, you can disable the runtime overlay. You can like not be running Warewulf client as a service and just run this whenever you want to apply it. So that's nice. And then we also fixed some debug logging. It was meant to be logging things as debug, but there just weren't a lot of debug messages. So we've added a bunch of debug messages in Warewulf client because it wasn't behaving when we were making these changes. So now there's a bunch of log if you want debug, and you can say debug when you run Warewulf client, get a bunch of log messages, which is nice. So I'm going to put that note here. Put this here. I agree with that feedback. Any other thoughts? I know, Tim, you reviewed this and you gave one comment, but now I forget what it was.
I think we resolved it. There was I remember having nothing outstanding, and I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I looked at it pretty closely and did a few tests.
Okay. For what it's worth, though there is not automated testing, I have tested this by hand in a single stage and 2-stage boot with and without SE Linux, and it was working for me now. And it wasn't just SE Linux that we weren't handling properly before. We actually weren't handling file permissions correctly at all, because it was however we were creating the temp file was always creating it with 0600 permissions. And so even though later on we told it to open it with different permissions that matched the target file, since the file already existed, they just always had 0600. So all of the files were the wrong permissions also. So all of these things have now, we believe, been fixed. But I'll get this one change in and then resubmit it for review.
Do you think it's worth the effort to actually make a proper test rig for it?
The issue is you can't test this without root. Because it's
test perhaps is that this unpacking behavior in the atomic change, so that it's kind of that you could check the code part at least where you kind of override stuff and see, for example, what I suggested, that you just override stuff if it has changed. This can be tested, but not this kind of, you are downloading stuff. And also WW client. The main problem there is WW client is in the It's not a separate function. It's all in this root.go.
Yeah. It's
And
not very well constructed for testability right now.
right, yeah.
And you convinced me when you said root and the different contexts. I think it's best to be tested in a larger integration effort where you're testing entire cluster deployment.
Yeah, we should refactor the code also so that we can test parts of it that we could, but it was already this way. So I guess we're kind of making it worse by redoing some of the functionality that we were getting for free with CPIO before we've introduced new code that isn't testable.
And the thing is that just for context, the CPIO are so we are using CPIO because that is that opens up the possibility to have the overlays that you just have to boot once. Let's phrase it that way. So that the overlays work because if you give a CPIO archive to the kernel via the init.rd command line, you can stack them. And that's only working with CPIO and no other archive format.
Right. Which is a little bit hand tying because presumably there are other archive formats that would preserve extended attributes and things like that we don't have right now.
Tar does, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's we could kind of send then the runtime overlay over in another format, but didn't happen.
Well, even the system overlay now in a two-stage boot, we pull that down separately later and apply it by hand. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that way in the future, but as long as we support a single stage boot, we at least have to have a CPIO version of it. All right. Anything else we need to discuss for today? Well, everyone, thank you as always so much for your participation and attention. Your presence here is what makes Warewulf possible, and I'm very grateful for it. As always, I'll put this recording up as soon as Zoom is done processing it. And
I just have to admit I will be in holidays until the next meeting, I think.
Until the next meeting, or you'll miss the next meeting?
Until the next meeting. I think I will come back. I will go on Friday and come back on Tuesday, something like this.
Okay. Our next meeting is Wednesday the 3rd. So we'll look forward to seeing you all then. Christian, enjoy your holiday.
Yeah, sure. See you.
All right. See you, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.